You know, there's nothing quite like the frustration of walking into a room and forgetting why you're there. Or maybe you've misplaced your keys, again, and spent what feels like forever retracing your steps. If you're over 80, these little moments of forgetfulness might feel like they're happening more often than they used to. And while it's perfectly normal for memory to change as we age, that doesn't mean we have to just accept it. The good news? What you eat can make a real difference. Just like putting the right fuel in a car keeps it running smoothly, feeding your brain the right foods can help keep your memory sharp and your mind clear. And the best part? These aren't complicated or expensive ingredients. They're simple, everyday foods you might already have in your kitchen. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 brain-boosting foods that can help support your memory and keep your mind feeling young. These foods are packed with nutrients that science has shown to be great for brain health. And the best part is, they're delicious too. So let's get started with the first one, a food you've probably enjoyed for years without realizing just how powerful it really is. First up, blueberries. These little blue gems aren't just sweet and tasty, they're like tiny superheroes for your brain. Studies have shown that blueberries are packed with antioxidants which help protect your brain from damage over time. Think of antioxidants like little bodyguards for your brain cells, fighting off the things that can make your memory foggy. And it's not just about preventing future problems. Eating blueberries has been linked to better memory and even improved thinking skills in older adults. Now you might be wondering, how much should you eat? Well, the great thing is, you don't need a huge amount to see benefits. Just a handful a day, maybe sprinkled on your morning oatmeal or blended into a smoothie, can make a difference. And if fresh blueberries aren't always available or easy to eat, frozen ones work just as well. They're just as nutritious, and you can keep them on hand all year round. Next, let's talk about a food that's been called brain gold for good reason: fatty fish. Now, I know fish isn't everyone's favorite, but if there's one thing worth adding to your diet for the sake of your memory, it's this. Fish, like salmon, mackerel, and sardines, are rich in something called omega-3 fatty acids. These healthy fats are like the building blocks your brain needs to stay sharp. In fact, research has found that people who eat more omega-3s tend to have better memory and even a lower risk of cognitive decline as they age. If you're not a big fish eater, don't worry, you don't have to start eating it every day. Even having it a couple of times a week can make a difference. And if fish really isn't your thing, there are other options like flax seeds or walnuts that also contain omega-3s, though in smaller amounts. But if you can, give fatty fish a try. Your brain will thank you. Now, before we move on to the next food, let's take a quick moment to appreciate how simple this is. We're not talking about complicated recipes or hard-to-find ingredients, just small, easy changes to what you're already eating. And the best part? These foods don't just help your brain, they're great for your overall health too. Speaking of simple, let's talk about our third brain-boosting food, leafy greens. You've probably heard that greens are good for you, but did you know they're especially great for your memory? Vegetables like spinach, kale, and Swiss chard are packed with vitamins and nutrients that help protect your brain. One of the most important is vitamin K, which has been linked to better memory and slower cognitive decline. Now, I know greens aren't always the most exciting thing on the plate, but there are so many easy ways to enjoy them. A handful of spinach in your morning omelette, some sautéed kale with garlic as a side dish, or even a simple salad with olive oil and lemon. It doesn't have to be complicated. And if chewing greens is tough for you, blending them into a soup or smoothie works just as well. The key is making them a regular part of your meals. Now that we've covered blueberries, fatty fish, and leafy greens, you're already well on your way to giving your brain the nourishment it needs. But we've got 2 more powerful foods to talk about. Foods that might surprise you with just how much they can do for your memory. So let's keep going. because the next one is something you might already have in your pantry right now. You might be surprised to hear that one of the best foods for your brain is something you've likely enjoyed since childhood: eggs. Now, I know eggs have had their share of controversy over the years, but when it comes to brain health, they're truly a powerhouse. The secret lies in the yolk, which is packed with a nutrient called choline. Choline is essential for producing acetylcholine, a chemical in your brain that plays a key role in memory and learning. In fact, studies have found that higher choline intake is linked to better cognitive performance, especially in older adults. And here's the best part: eggs are one of the easiest foods to prepare. Whether you like them scrambled, boiled, or as part of an omelette with those leafy greens we just talked about, they're a quick and affordable way to give your brain a boost. If you've been avoiding eggs because of cholesterol concerns, you'll be glad to know that for most people, moderate egg consumption, about one a day, doesn't negatively impact heart health. Of course, if you have specific dietary restrictions, it's always good to check with your doctor. But for many of us, eggs can be a simple and delicious addition to a brain-healthy diet. Now let's move on to our fifth and final brain-boosting food. And this one is a real treat, literally. I'm talking about dark chocolate. Yes, you heard that right. A small square of good quality dark chocolate with at least 70% cocoa isn't just a sweet indulgence. It's actually great for your brain. Dark chocolate is loaded with flavonoids, which are compounds that improve blood flow to the brain and help protect against age-related memory decline. Some research even suggests that regularly eating flavonoid-rich foods like dark chocolate can improve attention, processing speed, and memory in older adults. Now, before you reach for that candy bar, remember, we're talking about dark chocolate here, not the sugary milk chocolate varieties. The higher the cocoa content, the better. A small piece, about the size of a postage stamp, is all you need to reap the benefits. Enjoy it with a cup of tea in the afternoon, or melt it over some berries for a delicious and brain-healthy dessert. It's the perfect example of how taking care of your memory doesn't have to mean giving up life's little pleasures. Now, while these 5 foods, blueberries, fatty fish, leafy greens, eggs, and dark chocolate, are fantastic for supporting memory, there's one more thing I want to mention because it makes all the difference: consistency. You see, eating these foods once in a while is good, but making them a regular part of your diet is where the real magic happens. Think of it like watering a plant. A little bit every day keeps it thriving rather than drowning it once a month and wondering why it's not growing. So how can you make this easier on yourself? One simple trick is to plan ahead. Maybe you keep a bowl of washed blueberries in the fridge for an easy snack, or you cook an extra piece of salmon to have leftovers for lunch the next day. Small habits, like adding a handful of spinach to your meals or keeping dark chocolate on hand instead of sugary sweets, can add up to big benefits over time. And remember, you don't have to be perfect, just consistent. Every little bit helps. Now, I know changing eating habits can feel overwhelming, especially if you've been cooking and shopping the same way for years. But here's the thing. You don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Start small. Maybe this week you add blueberries to your breakfast. Next week you try having salmon for dinner. Before you know it, these brain-boosting foods will just be a natural part of how you eat. And let's not forget, food is just one piece of the puzzle. Staying socially active, getting gentle exercise, and keeping your mind engaged with puzzles or reading all work together with a good diet to keep your memory sharp. But the beauty of focusing on food first is that it's something you can start today, right in your own kitchen. So now that we've covered all 5 foods, let's take a moment to tie it all together, because knowing what to eat is one thing, but understanding why it matters makes it all stick. You know, sometimes the simplest things in life make the biggest difference, and that's especially true when it comes to taking care of our brains. Just think about it. Something as basic as the food on your plate can help keep your memories vivid, your thoughts clear, and your mind sharp even as the years go by. And the wonderful thing about these 5 foods we've talked about is that they don't just support your brain. They're good for your whole body too. It's like getting a bonus with every bite. Now, before we wrap up, let me share a little secret with you. The real power comes from combining these foods together. Imagine starting your day with an omelette packed with spinach and a side of blueberries. You're already getting 3 brain boosters in one meal. Or how about a dinner of baked salmon with a dark chocolate square for dessert? When these foods work together, they create something truly special, a kind of symphony of nutrients, all playing their part to keep your mind in tune. And here's something else to consider. These foods aren't just good for you physically. There's joy in eating them too. There's the burst of sweetness from ripe blueberries, the satisfying richness of a perfectly cooked egg, the deep flavor of good dark chocolate. Eating for your brain doesn't mean giving up pleasure. It's about rediscovering the simple, delicious foods that have been nourishing people for generations. I want you to remember that every small choice matters. Maybe today you'll swap your usual snack for a handful of walnuts and blueberries. Maybe next time you're at the store, you'll pick up some salmon instead of your usual meat. These little decisions add up, and before you know it, you'll have created new habits that support your memory without even thinking about it. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you tried any of these foods and noticed a difference? Maybe you've got your own favorite way to prepare salmon or a special recipe that sneaks in extra greens. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experience could be just the inspiration someone else needs to start their own journey toward better brain health. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. It really helps others find this information. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. We're always sharing practical, uplifting tips to help you live your very best life at any age. As we close, I want to leave you with this thought. Getting older is a privilege, and taking care of your mind is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Those little moments of forgetfulness, they don't have to define your days. With the right foods, the right habits, and the right attitude, you've got everything you need to keep your memory strong and your spirit even stronger. Here's to good food, sharp minds, and the joy of remembering all the beautiful moments life has to offer. Thank you for watching, and remember, every day is a new opportunity to nourish your best self. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.